Have you ever heard of the ancient practice of putting your name in salt water? Imagine immersing your deepest desires in a mystical ritual, letting salt water purify them and transform them into reality. What would it be like to be able to live a life full of serenity and inner peace, free from pain and suffering? And what would it be like to find emotional balance and mental well-being by pushing away the things and people that hurt you? In this Zen story, thanks to Buddhist wisdom, you will discover that if you put your name in salt water, you can make your wishes come true. If you stick around to the end of this story, you will discover the incredible power of salt water for your life. And you will know how a Buddhist monk named Ariko helped a young disciple rediscover the joy of living through Zen philosophy and this ancient secret ritual. So get ready for an exciting journey through the snow-capped mountains of Japan, where ancient wisdom intertwines with the transformative power of salt water. We assure you that by the end of this touching story, you will have learned how to awaken your inner potential and turn your dreams into reality. But before continuing, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to be informed when we publish new content for your spiritual growth. In an ancient village nestled among the snow-capped mountains of Japan, there lived an old and wise Buddhist monk named Ariko. Known for his profound wisdom and compassion, he attracted disciples from every corner of the country, eager to learn from his teachings. His fame was such that even the emperor himself occasionally went to the temple to receive his advice. One day, a group of disciples gathered around the master. Their faces were marked by tiredness and discouragement. They had fought long and hard, facing all kinds of obstacles and rejections, but life didn't seem to give them what they deserved. This is why they felt tired, trapped in an endless routine, destined for an existence devoid of the well-being and peace they had always desired. Ariko looked at them with her eyes full of kindness and said, "Would you like to learn how to break down those barriers that prevent you from reaching your true potential? What would it be like to be able to overcome the waste we have to deal with every day? And what would it be like to be able to obtain what we need to live peacefully?" The disciples, faced with these questions, nodded, recognizing in Ariko's words the reflection of their own difficulties. "You are not alone," continued the elderly monk. "Many of us have faced these challenges. But there's one thing I want you to know. Every obstacle, every rejection is just part of the path to something bigger and more extraordinary. Today, I'm here to share with you something special, something that can change the course of your life in a way you don't even imagine." Ariko paused, letting her words sink into their hearts, and the disciples smiled, convinced that they would soon find out. What I'm going to tell you about is a powerful force, a philosophy of life that will not only help you achieve your goals, but will also allow you to discover a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. It's not just a technique, Ariko clarified. It's a way of thinking, of acting, of being. It is a tool that can unleash your maximum potential and take you beyond what you ever thought possible. Are you ready to take the first step towards a fuller, more exciting and rewarding life? The disciples, intrigued and full of hope, nodded enthusiastically. "Then let us join together on this journey to personal transformation," Ariko exclaimed. "A journey where every challenge becomes an opportunity and every dream becomes an achievable reality. It's time to unleash your inner greatness in all its splendor." And so, Ariko began to guide his disciples along the path of awareness and personal realization. By teaching them the principles of Zen philosophy and powerful techniques such as meditation, gratitude, and manifestation, he would give them the keys to a more fulfilling life. One day, while the disciples were meditating by the lake, Ariko told them a legend that had been handed down for generations. It is said that in the depths of this lake lives an ancient and wise dragon, guardian of a magical pearl that contains the knowledge and wisdom of the universe. Legend has it that only those with a pure heart and a determined soul can find the pearl and gain its powers. The disciples listened to the story in amazement, fascinated by the possibility of gaining such knowledge. The master smiled and said, "The legend of the dragon and the pearl is a symbol of the potential that lies within each of us. Inside us is an inexhaustible source of wisdom and strength, just waiting to be awakened, and we must learn to do it." To help his disciples connect with their inner potential, Ariko taught them a special ritual, the salt water ritual. Salt water represents purification and transformation, Ariko explained. With this ritual, you can free your mind from negative thoughts and channel your energy towards your deepest desires. Now, listen to me carefully because I will explain exactly what you will have to do to put this powerful ritual into practice. The disciples carefully followed Ariko's instructions. Taking a blank sheet of paper, they wrote down their deepest desire clearly and precisely. Then, they folded the sheet and immersed it in a carefully prepared bowl of salted water. As the sheet absorbed the salt water, Ariko guided them in a deep meditation, helping them visualize their wish already fulfilled. He invited them to feel the positive emotions they would feel once they achieved their goal, to perceive the joy and satisfaction that would derive from it. At the end of the meditation, the disciples took the paper out of the bowl and left it to dry. Ariko assured them that the ritual had activated the power of manifestation and that their wish would come true if only they continued to believe in it with faith and perseverance. In the following days and weeks, the disciples put their mentor's teachings into practice, cultivating gratitude and faith in the power of manifestation. However, some of them began to doubt when their wishes did not come true immediately. Ariko reassured them, explaining that the path to personal fulfillment is not always linear. There will be obstacles and trials to face, but it is important to maintain faith and never abandon your dreams. Every trial is an opportunity to grow and strengthen, he said. Learn from your mistakes. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is not the end, but just a step towards success, and it is only by failing that you can learn how to achieve your desires. The disciples, inspired by the monk's words, continued to persevere, facing challenges with courage and determination. And over time, they began to see the fruits of their efforts. Their wishes, once just distant dreams, began to come true, one after the other. As the disciples achieved their goals, they realized how powerful the potential resided within them. They had learned to turn their thoughts into reality, to overcome limitations, and create the life they wanted. Gratitude became a constant feeling in their hearts. They were grateful to Ariko for his teachings, grateful for the experiences they had lived, grateful for life itself. One day, after many years of teachings, Ariko felt that the time had come to leave this world. He gathered his disciples around him and said, "My journey is coming to an end, but my teaching will live on through you. Take with you the wisdom you have learned, share it with the world, and help others find their inner light." With a smile full of peace, Ariko closed her eyes forever. His disciples, moved and saddened, promised to honor his memory by continuing to spread his message of hope, compassion, and personal fulfillment. But what does the story of the monk Ariko and salt water teach us? That all of us, to live a full and satisfying life, must learn to awaken the potential that resides in each of us. This story is a message of hope that reminds us that we can create the life we desire, if only we have the courage to believe and persevere. Like Ariko's disciples, we can learn to transform our thoughts into reality, to overcome limitations, and realize our greatest dreams. All through gratitude, faith in the power of manifestation, commitment, and perseverance. Have you ever heard of the meaning of the number 888 and its spiritual importance? For many, it is an angelic number, a portal to luck and prosperity. The certain thing is that for all religions, this number has links with spirituality and with the divine that is in each of us. And it is said that if you write the number 888 on a sheet of paper and put it under your pillow, you can transform your life. By doing so, in fact, you will be able to attract prosperity, serenity, and inner peace. But how are things really? Make yourself comfortable and stay until the end of the video, because at the end of this Zen story you will find an answer to this fascinating mystery. And also, you will learn about the power of the number 888 and how to use it to attract what you want into your life. The sun sank lazily on the horizon, painting the sky with fiery shades that danced on the rocks like tongues of fire. The elderly and wise monk Kato is about to reveal something unique to his disciples. Around the crackling fire, Kaido's disciples anxiously awaited the words of the Buddhist monk. They knew that, once again, their mentor would amaze them with extraordinary revelations. Kaido, with his calm and persuasive voice, began to narrate an ancient story, one of those capable of opening the mind and leaving a profound mark in the hearts of each of them. In the mists of time began the monk. A mystical number emerged from the depths of the universe, 888. Since then, its energy permeates creation, bringing abundance, prosperity, and balance. Like a rushing river that fuels life, this number brings with it the promise of a bright future, a future full of joy and fulfillment. The monk bent down, picking up a small sheet of snow-white paper. With precise and delicate gestures, he traced the number 888 in golden ink. His calligraphy, as fluid as a mountain waterfall pouring down the valley, seemed to leave a mark in the minds of the disciples. This symbol, he explained in a soft voice, contains an ancestral force capable of attracting positivity into your life like a magnet attracts iron. Think of this number as a talisman that brings good luck, a bridge that connects heaven and earth, a portal that will lead you to a world of wonders. The disciples listened in silence, enraptured by the Master's words. Their eyes shone with curiosity and hope, like stars lighting up in the night sky. 888 is more than just a number, Kato continued, his voice vibrant with wisdom. It is a key that opens the door to the unlimited potential of the universe. And consequently, if we know how to interpret certain messages well, to the unlimited potential that lies within each of us. Like a magical portal leading to a world of wonders, this number will allow you to access an infinite reserve of energy and wisdom, an inexhaustible source of inspiration and inner strength. One of the younger disciples, eager to know more, asked, "Master Kato, how can this number open the doors of prosperity and inner peace for us?" The monk, looking at everyone with a broad smile, invited them to write the number 888 on a sheet of white paper, using golden or red ink, symbols of prosperity and luck. The sheet then had to be placed under the pillow before going to bed, like a hidden treasure waiting to be revealed. While you sleep, Kaito whispered in a firm voice, your mind will open like a flower in the sun, and the energy of 888 will flow through you, purifying your spirit and preparing you to receive new gifts from the universe. It will be like a rain of blessings falling on the thirsty earth. Dreams will transform into prophecies, intuitions into flashes of genius, and synchronicities into invisible guides that will lead you to your highest destiny. The disciples nodded, and with their hearts full of hope and the paper with the number 888 clutched in their hands, they headed towards their rooms. The ritual that Kato had spoken about had affected them deeply, and they couldn't wait to carry it out with all the trust and faith they were capable of. In the quiet of the night, the disciples retreated to their rooms, lulled by the singing of the nocturnal birds and the rustling of the leaves. The paper with the number 888 rested under their pillows, like a precious talisman that emanated a subtle and vibrant energy. And that night, a very strange thing happened. Everyone dreamed of something, and the dreams became vivid and colorful, full of symbols and mysterious messages to interpret and use as maps for one's happiness. Upon awakening, the disciples felt transformed, as if a cool breeze had swept away the clouds of their minds. A sense of renewed energy and profound inner peace pervaded their being, like a wave of positivity that enveloped and intoxicated them. Over the next few days, surprising events began to manifest in their lives. New opportunities knocked on their doors, like flowers blooming at dawn. Unexpected encounters illuminated their path, like lighthouses in the night indicating the route. Fortunate coincidences led them towards the realization of their dearest dreams, like shooting stars that grant wishes. The disciples, amazed and happy at these events and this transformation, went to Kaido to thank him and to ask to know more about the number 888. The wise monk, with a benevolent smile, invited them to sit around the fire, which crackled brightly like a beating heart that united them under the same roof. 888 is an angelic number, Kaido explained, his voice vibrant with wisdom. It is a message sent by our spiritual guardians, a precious gift that infuses our lives with hope, love, and protection. Like a lighthouse in the night, this number guides us towards our highest destiny, illuminating the path ahead with its golden light. In Buddhism, the number 8 represents the Eightfold Path, or the path that leads to enlightenment. And the 888 is seen as a symbol of spiritual perfection and awakening, a symbol to be respected, and thanks to which one can find one's path in life. Master Kaido asked the disciple, "Is it true that this number is also important for other religions?" The monk, smiling, replied that in the Christian tradition, the number 888 is associated with Jesus Christ, because in Greek, the name of Jesus has this same numerical value. And for this reason, it is seen as a symbol of redemption, salvation, and eternal life. Kaido told stories of angels and spiritual guides who, through this issue, had offered their help to people in difficulty. He talked about how this number was often present in prophetic dreams, sudden intuitions, and surprising synchronicities, like an invisible thread that weaves the fabric of our destiny. The 888 is a symbol of balance and harmony, continued Kaido. Like a bridge that connects heaven and earth, this number helps us find the right balance between our spiritual aspirations and our material needs. It is an invitation to live a life full of meaning, in which external prosperity is accompanied by internal growth, giving us emotional balance and mental well-being. While the disciples listened with great interest, and their hearts were grateful to their mentor for the wisdom he imparted to them, the monk taught them how to meditate on the number 888. Thinking about this number, my dears, visualize how a golden light flows through your body and purifies your soul. And pay attention to the signs and synchronicities that manifest themselves in your life, recognizing them as messages from the universe that guide you towards your destiny. The disciples, with hearts full of gratitude, from that day continued to constantly practice the ritual of the number 888 and meditate on it. Their life turned into a journey of discovery and joy, where every day was a new chapter in a wonderful story. The numbers danced before their eyes, like notes of celestial music that invited them to follow the rhythm of the universe. And their lives, despite the challenges and tests to which they were subjected, continued in the name of trust, faith, and perseverance. Challenges are like stones that help us build the path of our life, Kaido had told him during his lessons. Do not be afraid of falling, because it is only by falling that you learn to get up. The 888 is with you. You just need to open your heart to feel its energy. The most difficult test was for Akiko, a young disciple with a pure heart and a kind soul. A sudden fire destroyed her house, leaving her with nothing. Akiko was disheartened and cried desperately, believing that the universe had abandoned her to her fate. Kaido took her hand and led her to the top of a hill overlooking the valley. The sun was rising, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. "Look," he said, pointing to the breathtaking view. "The universe has not abandoned you. It has given you this test to make you emerge like a phoenix from the ashes. Remember that the 888 is with you. Have faith, and your inner strength will guide you despite adversity." Akiko watched the sun rise and felt a new strength rising within her. The monk's words gave her the hope and determination to rebuild her life. With the help of his fellow disciples and the community, he built a new house, more beautiful and more resistant than the previous one. After overcoming various tests and challenges, the disciples felt transformed. They had acquired a new awareness of themselves and their place in the world. One day, Kaito gathered them together again and asked them, "What have you learned from all this?" The disciples, moved and aware, recounted their experiences. They had learned that true wealth is not in material things, but in inner strength, love, and compassion. And that the number 888 is not a magical lucky charm, but a symbol of their unlimited potential. And again, that the key to a happy and fulfilling life is to trust your intuition and live in harmony with yourself and the universe. Master Kaito looked at them with pride and greeted them with these words, "Now you are ready to spread your light in the world. Use your wisdom to help others and to create a better world." Have you ever heard of the custom of putting coarse salt in the corners of the house? And do you know what exactly this ancient Buddhist practice passed down by monks and healers of enormous wisdom and experience is for? Thanks to the exciting Zen story you are about to hear, you will discover some of the greatest benefits of salt and the powerful symbolic and spiritual implications behind it. So, stay until the end and don't miss even a minute of this precious video, because the information you will receive will help you in your search for inner peace. A quiet Buddhist monastery hidden in the Japanese mountains, the wise old monk Hiroshi told his devoted disciples stories of profound wisdom. Dear disciples, there is an ancient practice that may appear simple, but which has deep roots in Buddhist wisdom and important symbolic and spiritual implications. The monk continued, "Putting coarse salt in the corners of your house may seem like a trivial gesture, but you have to watch what happens when you do it. It's like sowing the seed of change and watching how it flourishes." A young monk raised an eyebrow skeptically. "I used to doubt this practice," he admitted, "but now I wonder what would happen if I did it." You should know that salt has been valued throughout the centuries, considered more than just a spice. It was traded like gold, and many believed it possessed magical properties. "But why put salt in the corners of the house?" asked another young nun. "Because salt isn't just about making food taste better," Hiroshi replied. "It has a much deeper history." And so the monk embarked on a tale that unfolded through ancient cultures and civilizations, from the ancient Egypt of the pharaohs to Gandhi's India, from the regions of Normandy to Bavaria, from Judaism to Buddhism. He explained how salt had been considered a protective amulet, a symbol of unshakable life, a means of purification and harmonization. "It is more than meets the eye," Hiroshi said. "It is a bridge between us and the universe, a key to our connection with nature and with ourselves." His disciples absorbed the words of the wise monk, reflecting on the depth behind such a simple gesture as putting salt in the corners of one's home. And so they began to understand that even the smallest actions can lead to significant changes when intrinsically connected to wisdom and awareness. Every practice has a beginning, he began, and the practice of using salt as a tool of purification and transformation has its roots in the past, intertwined with the stories of monks, sages, and ordinary people. The disciples approached, eager to discover the secrets Hiroshi was about to reveal. In Buddhist tradition, he continued in a calm voice, salt is considered a protective amulet, capable of repelling negative energies and purifying the space it occupies. A young nun raised her hand, eager to know more, but how did this practice begin? She asked curiously. Hiroshi smiled, accepting the question. In times past, corners were believed to be places where stagnant energies could accumulate, creating an imbalance in the home environment. And by placing salt in these points, an energetic barrier was created that repelled negative influences. The disciples' eyes shone with interest as Hiroshi continued his narration. In Japan, for example, salt is used in Shinto purification rituals to eliminate spiritual impurities and protect against evil spirits. This practice has evolved over the centuries, but its profound meaning has remained intact and, even today, many elderly people cultivate it and pass it down with confidence to their heirs. As Hiroshi spoke, the disciples found themselves transported to a world of ancient beliefs, superstitions, and traditional wisdom, and they began to understand that the simple gesture of putting salt in the corners of the house was an act of protection and harmonization with the universe. But the power of this element is not limited only to protection, continued Hiroshi, his eyes bright with wisdom. Salt also has the ability to transform stagnant energies into positivity and create an environment that fosters personal growth and emotional well-being. The disciples listened carefully, fascinated by the words of the wise monk. For them, the concept of using salt as a tool for purification and transformation was becoming increasingly clear and meaningful. And now, said Hiroshi, as the fire crackled softly before them, I will show you a simple yet powerful method for using salt to purify and harmonize your home environment. With an air of expectation, the disciples gathered even closer, ready to learn the master's secrets, because they knew that even though salt might seem like a common thing, its power was profound and transformative. And Hiroshi was ready to lead them on a journey of discovery through the ancient practices involving this humble yet powerful element. First of all, continued the elderly monk, we must understand the role of salt in our daily lives and its connection to the energies that surround us. Salt has been precious throughout the ages, Hiroshi continued, not only for its culinary value, but also for its physical and symbolic properties. It was considered a divine gift, a symbol of purification and protection against dark forces. As he spoke, he showcased a variety of salts collected from around the world, from raw sea salt to pink Himalayan salt crystals. Each type of salt carries with it a unique vibration, he explained. And learning to use salt correctly means being aware of this diversity and how it can affect our environment and our inner energy. The disciples contemplated the various types of salt with curiosity, aware of their potential significance beyond the simple flavor they added to meals. But how can we fully harness the power of salt in our lives? Asked one of the monks, eager to apply what he was learning. You asked an important question, Hiroshi replied with a smile. The key is in intention and mindful practice. I will show you a method you can use to purify and protect your home environment. The moon is a powerful energy catalyst, Hiroshi explained, and when salt is exposed to its light, it becomes charged with purifying and harmonizing energy. The disciples watched in awe as the salt absorbed the silvery light of the moon, exuding an aura of tranquility and power. This salt, said Hiroshi, can be used to create a circle of protection around your home or to purify interior spaces. With an elegant gesture, he took a pinch of salt from the bowl and scattered it around the perimeter of the monastery courtyard, tracing an invisible circle of protection. This circle, he explained, will create an energetic barrier that will repel negative influences and promote peace and harmony within these boundaries. The disciples watched reverently as Hiroshi completed the circle of salt, feeling the presence of a protective energy surrounding the monastery. It was as if the place itself had been enveloped in a loving and powerful embrace. But the power of salt is not just limited to external protection, Hiroshi continued. It can also be used to purify and harmonize internal spaces, creating an environment that promotes spiritual growth and well-being. With this, he led the disciples inside the monastery, where he guided them through a series of practices involving salt to purify and harmonize the internal spaces. Each gesture was performed with awareness and intention, as the disciples learned to connect with the power of salt and use it to transform the energies around them. Have you ever noticed how humidity can accumulate on the walls of your home, especially in certain areas? Hiroshi asked, scanning the expressions of all the people present. Everyone nodded in agreement, recalling times when they had observed this phenomenon in their homes. Placing salt in those spots can be extremely helpful, Hiroshi continued. Salt, in fact, has the ability to absorb humidity from the surrounding air, thus helping to prevent the formation of mold and safeguard our health. But that's not all, he said with a smile that suggested a new revelation. Salt can also be an ally in the fight against bad odors in domestic environments. Placing small bowls of salt in strategic locations around the home, such as the kitchen or bathroom, can help absorb and neutralize bad odors, Hiroshi explained. In this way, salt acts as a natural air purifier, keeping rooms fresh and pleasant. And these two important benefits of salt, my dears, although they are not directly linked to spirituality, actually have a strong connection with our spiritual path. Because, just as it absorbs humidity and bad smells, salt also absorbs energies, emotions, and evil presences. Therefore, it has a very powerful symbolic and spiritual role, and each of us should take this into account. Are you tired of struggling with financial difficulties? Do you dream of a peaceful life, free from money worries? And what would it be like to finally be able to make your dreams come true without having to worry about how to pay for them? In the Zen story you are about to listen to, we will reveal the secrets to saying goodbye to poverty, attracting prosperity, and finally living in serenity. Be careful though. In this video, we are not talking about strange and unlikely magic tricks to delude yourself into becoming rich overnight. Instead, we will talk about 3 ancient rituals for prosperity, thanks to which you will understand that achieving economic well-being is not an unattainable dream. This is a reality that can be achieved by anyone willing to put in the effort and dedication. And the most important thing you will discover is how to activate your inner power and how to use simple but effective rituals to attract wealth and abundance into your life. On the snow-capped slopes of Mount Fuji, shrouded in mystical silence, stood the Shoinzen Monastery, an ancient refuge of peace and wisdom. Within its austere walls lived the Buddhist monk Jun, a man revered for his profound knowledge and his ability to attract prosperity into the lives of those who followed him. One day, a group of pilgrims, coming from every corner of the world, arrived at the monastery. Attracted by Jun's fame, they wanted to discover how to live a prosperous and fulfilling life. With hearts full of worries and hopes, they sat in front of the old monk, ready to absorb his every word like water in the desert. Jun, with a radiant smile that lit up his wrinkled face, welcomed them warmly, ready to convey to them the inner peace and emotional balance of which he was capable. "Welcome, my children," he said in a quiet voice. Today, I will reveal to you 3 ancient rituals handed down from generation to generation, capable of driving away poverty and attracting prosperity into your life. With a deep look and a calm voice, Jun added, "Know that when I talk about prosperity, I'm not just talking about money. Prosperity in the life of each of us must include both material and spiritual wealth." Then, while those present nodded in appreciation, he began to describe the first ritual, that of the talisman of abundance. To create the talisman of abundance, he explained you will need a glass jar, a symbol of purity and containment. In this glass jar, you will have to insert 8 bay leaves, which represent protection and victory, and 3 cloves of garlic, capable of warding off negativity. Furthermore, you will have to add a cinnamon stick, which recalls prosperity and luck, and a current coin or banknote, as a tangible symbol of the desired abundance. The last elements you will need are rice, or the seed of abundance, and your favorite perfume, which will create an olfactory connection with well-being. As the pilgrims listened curiously and hopefully, their mentor went on to explain each step with meticulous precision. In his voice and in his words, one could read the wisdom accumulated over years of meditation and study. "My dears, imbue the jar with positive energy," he suggested, "by thinking about how money can improve your life, bringing you peace, freedom, and prosperity. Add the bay leaves, arranging them in a circle on the walls of the jar to represent unity and protection. At this point, insert the garlic cloves, imagining them as shields against negativity. Then insert cinnamon, a precious spice that will bring prosperity and luck into your life. And finally, the coin or banknote, a tangible symbol of abundance. This will be your goal. When you have inserted all these things," concluded Jun, "fill the jar with rice, the seed of abundance, until it completely covers the other ingredients. Seal it carefully and place it under your bed. Think of it as a magnet that constantly attracts vibrations of opportunity and money." A murmur arose in the monastery hall. Those present, in fact, began to discuss what they were discovering from the voice of the wise Jun. With a hint of mystery in his eyes, Jun revealed the second ritual. For this ritual, he said, you will need a card, a symbol of new possibilities, and your favorite perfume, which will create an olfactory link with prosperity. Spray a few drops of perfume on the note, advised the monk. Then, close your eyes and concentrate on the scent, imagining that it is the essence of money and abundance. Smell the note and repeat to yourself, "Money comes to me easily and effortlessly." Repeat this affirmation with conviction and faith, feeling abundance flow into your life. Always carry this note with you, Jun continued. Every time you smell it, you will strengthen your visualization and attract even more money energy into your life. And if at any time you feel worried about your finances, repeat the process, shifting the focus of your attention from worry to abundance. The pilgrims nodded, making the monk understand that his words were precious to them and that they would certainly carry out these rituals. With an aura of serenity hovering around him, Jun presented the third ritual. For this ritual, he explained, you will need a bowl, water, and a pinch of salt. Fill the bowl with water and add a pinch of salt, mixing slowly with a wooden spoon. Imagine that the water represents the prosperity you wish to attract into your life. Now, Jun continued, take a handful of rice and recite this formula. Spirit of abundance, I thank you for the gifts I have already received and ask you to bless this water with your energy of prosperity. Make this water a symbol of my gratitude and a catalyst to attract even more wealth into my life. After reciting the formula, continued the monk, drink the water slowly, savoring each sip and imagining prosperity flowing within you. As you drink, feel gratitude grow in your heart for the good things you already have in your life. Remember that gratitude is the key that opens the doors to abundance. As he concluded his explanation of the 3 rituals for prosperity, Jun emphasized the importance of symbolism and the power of the mind. These rituals, he stated with conviction, are not magic, but powerful tools for focusing your attention and stimulating your mental attitude. Through their symbolic action, you connect with your inner energy and activate your ability to attract prosperity. Know that it is your faith, your gratitude, and your positive focus, Jun continued, that bring these rituals to life and make them effective. The more you believe in their power and the more you commit to cultivating a positive mental attitude, the more results you will achieve. And remember, added the monk with a beaming smile, that true prosperity is not found in money alone, but in the joy, peace, and love that fill your life. Use these rituals as compasses to guide your path to a life full of meaning and fulfillment, but never forget that the true treasure already lies within you. The pilgrims, moved by Jun's words and full of inspiration, took leave of the monastery with the promise to put into practice the rituals they had learned and to cultivate a positive and grateful mental attitude. But what does the story of the monk Jun teach us? It teaches us that prosperity is not just a matter of money, but of an overall well-being that encompasses the mind, body, and spirit. The rituals passed down by him offer us concrete tools to attract abundance into our lives, but the real key to success lies in self-knowledge and the power of our mind. Only by discovering who we truly are and aligning our actions with our deepest goals can we create a life full of meaning and prosperity. Rituals are just a means, a catalyst to activate our inner potential and to connect with the energy of abundance that surrounds us. The real moral of this story is that prosperity comes from within us. It is the fruit of internal work, of a transformation of our way of thinking and acting. It is when we learn to cultivate gratitude, faith, and positivity that we open ourselves to a flow of abundance that has no limits. Let's remember that money is just a tool, a means to realize our dreams and to contribute to the well-being of the world. True wealth lies in our ability to love, rejoice, and share with others. Let us follow the teachings of the monk Jun and embark on our journey towards prosperity with the awareness that the true treasure is already within us. Have you ever heard of the ancient practice of washing your feet with vinegar? And have you ever heard of its enormous benefits on both a physical and mental level? And again, did you know that behind a simple daily act like this lies a profound spiritual meaning? The Zen story you will hear shortly will be a journey of discovery and reflection, where we will explore not only the physical benefits, but also the profound spiritual meanings of this ancient ritual. Get ready to immerse yourself in a story full of wisdom and stay until the end, because you will discover what also happens on a spiritual level if you take foot baths with hot water and vinegar. But before continuing, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications to stay updated when we publish new content for your spiritual growth. In a quiet monastery located among the green hills of Japan, the elderly Buddhist monk Kada sat among his disciples, surrounded by the silence and serenity that enveloped the sacred place. Golden sunset light filtered through the windows of the main hall, barely illuminating Kava's serene face as she prepared to share profound wisdom with her followers. The time had come to talk about the ancient practice of washing the feet with vinegar, a ritual that combined personal care with the deepest spiritual teachings. Kada began his story by introducing the ancient and mysterious origins of the ritual of washing the feet with vinegar. This practice, he said in a calm but firm voice, has been passed down through generations of Buddhist monks. It combines respect for the physical body with the search for spiritual purification, and today we will see how a simple daily gesture can help both the body and the spirit. While the disciples, remaining silent, prepared to listen to the wise words of the monk, Kata told stories handed down in the monastery of ancient masters who used vinegar as a tool for healing and purification, both for the body and for the spirit. The sacred writings speak of monks who, after long meditations in the woods, returned to the monastery to wash their tired feet with vinegar, thus renewing their commitment to the path of spiritual awakening, continued Kava. You must know, he added, that in ancient monastic communities there were real ritual ceremonies that accompanied the washing of the feet with vinegar. And this is the demonstration of the enormous respect and sacredness attributed to this gesture of purification that we try to pass on over the years. As the disciples' interest and curiosity grew more and more, Kata began to talk about the physical benefits of washing with vinegar. Vinegar is known for its antimicrobial and antifungal properties, Kata explained fervently. These help prevent and fight skin infections such as nail mycosis. This was very important in the past, when monks worked outdoors and could incur infections of various kinds. And it is very important in our times, in which many of you spend many hours with shoes on or frequent places, such as public swimming pools or gyms, where you come into contact with fungi of various types. With concrete examples, Kata illustrated how washing your feet with vinegar could improve skin health, reduce unpleasant odor, and even relieve muscle pain and fatigue. Immersing your feet in a solution of water and vinegar is like giving them a regenerating and invigorating treatment, he added with a pleased smile, underlining how ancient healers suggested this ritual to safeguard health. On a physical level, washing your feet with vinegar brings numerous benefits, especially for blood circulation and muscle relaxation. Imagine tired feet after a long day of work or walking. Immersion in a solution of water and vinegar not only soothes fatigue, but also promotes blood flow through the blood vessels of the feet. This improves tissue oxygenation, helping to reduce swelling and relieving any pain or discomfort. Furthermore, the heat of the water combined with the relaxing properties of the vinegar helps the muscles of the feet to relax, dissolving the tensions accumulated during the day. This muscle relaxation not only brings immediate relief, but can also promote better posture and greater balance in the long term, as the muscles in the feet are essential for supporting the full weight of the body throughout our days. Kata also explored the exfoliating effect of vinegar on the skin of the feet, removing dead cells and leaving them soft and smooth. This deep cleansing process contributed to the overall health of the feet. You will probably smile to hear a monk talk about the exfoliating power of this practice, said the elderly and wise monk, smiling amused. But the truth is that even these aspects, apparently frivolous, play a role in our physical and emotional well-being. Faced with this joke, they all let out a group laugh, appreciating the sympathy with which the master approached them in explaining the importance of this ancient practice. Kata looked at his disciples amused. Then, in a calm voice, he moved on to talk about the symbolic and more purely spiritual aspects of this ancient Buddhist ritual. In washing our feet with vinegar, we find a profound symbol of our inner search and aspiration for spiritual purity, he continued. Imagine our tired and dusty feet after a long journey through life. Every step we take leaves an imprint, a sign of our experiences, our struggles, and our joys. Yet, despite the weight of the journey, we continue to advance with determination and hope. In this simple act of washing the dirt off our feet, we see reflected the desire to purify our mind and heart from the impurities of the world. You must think of vinegar as the transforming force that acts on us, as a regenerating liquid that flows over our feet, bringing with it a new vitality. Just as vinegar slowly dissolves accumulated dirt and sweeps away dead skin from our feet, so we seek to loosen the chains of selfishness, hatred, and fear that imprison us. Through this ritual, we come closer to the awareness of our limits and our fragilities, paving the way for a greater understanding of ourselves and others. The washing of feet with vinegar is not only a gesture of purification, but an act of humility and compassion. Every time we bend down to wash the feet of another, we recognize the sacredness of the service and the importance to take care of each other. This gesture reminds us that we are all part of a single human community, linked by invisible bonds of love and mutual respect. For this reason, the monks used to wash each other's feet. And it is the same reason why, in some forms of meditation, we suggest that people who come to visit us dedicate themselves to this practice on others. We can wash the feet of a child, a parent, a loved one. It will be a way to take care of ourselves and that person we care about, moving our hearts and minds towards inner peace and emotional balance. According to the ancient Buddhist monks, my dear disciples, washing the feet with vinegar is a path towards inner renewal, a journey that commits us to overcoming our fears and embracing our humanity with courage and kindness. Proceeding with his teachings, Kada also emphasized the importance of practicing foot washing with vinegar with full awareness and presence of mind. Every drop of vinegar is an opportunity to be fully present in the here and now, he said firmly. So practice mindfulness during the ritual, observing the sensations, thoughts, and emotions that arise as you soak your feet in the vinegar. In this way, he continued, foot washing becomes not only an act of purification, but an experience of profound connection with oneself and the surrounding world. Kada, during this lesson, was not limited to the theoretical aspects, but also suggested breathing and meditation exercises to be practiced during the ritual to promote greater awareness and mental tranquility. Remember that through regular practice, added the monk with a smile, in addition to the tangible benefits for the body, such as cleansing, relaxation, and improved circulation, the very act of washing your feet represents a symbolic act of humility, purification, and rebirth. Feet are our connection to the earth, our point of contact with the outside world. Cleaning and caring for them is a way to honor our relationship with nature and with ourselves. And vinegar, with its ability to dissolve impurities and renew the spirit, becomes a precious companion on this journey of personal and spiritual growth. I therefore invite you to carry out this ancient ritual with awareness and gratitude, always remembering its deepest meaning. Have you ever noticed the lines on the palm of your hand? They are there with you always, and they have a particular meaning. And if these lines, put together, form the letter M, the meaning is even more particular because it takes on a symbolic and spiritual implication. Maybe you've never noticed it because you don't believe in palmistry, yet having the M on the palm of your hand doesn't simply have to do with the theories of those who read palms. But what does it really mean to have the letter M on the palm of your hand? We will see it in this Zen story, rich as always in that Buddhist wisdom, capable of giving us emotional well-being and inner peace. So make yourself comfortable and stay until the end of the video because what you will hear will leave you speechless, especially if you are among the rare people who can say they have this letter on their hand. In a quiet Buddhist temple hidden in a charming Japanese forest, the elderly and wise Buddhist monk Ninsi gathered his disciples in the courtyard. My children, Ninsi began in a calm, penetrating voice, have you ever felt as if the universe were whispering to you ancient secrets about your destiny? And have you ever had the impression that your destiny, or at least that we call that, holds something unique and mysterious in store for you? The disciples, captured by his eloquence, nodded, thinking of the sensations they had been pervaded by over time. Imagine entering a place and feeling your own energy being absorbed, as if the environment were making demands on your life force, he continued. Have you ever felt that shiver down your spine, that subtle sensation that leads you to change course, cancel plans, or follow others? Just like when, at the last moment, something happens that takes you elsewhere from the path you had chosen. The disciples exchanged questioning glances, but Ninsi continued without giving them time to answer or ask questions. His intent was to make them think, but also not to distract them from his words. And then there is that strange and enigmatic symbol marked in your hands, the letter M. Those of you who own it know exactly what I'm talking about. One of the disciples raised his hand timidly. "Master, I have the letter M in the palm of my hand, and hearing about it for some time, I have always wondered with anxiety what it meant." Another disciple added, "I also have the M on the palm of my hand, and I was told that it would be a sign that we are destined to live less than others. But how are things really?" Ninsi smiled, a compassionate smile that seemed to light up the night itself. "Well, get ready to decipher the secrets that destiny has in store for you. Welcome to the mystery of the letter M." With seraphic grace, the monk told them the parable of a traveler whose deeds were guided by a star in the shape of an M that illuminated the sky. That star was a light that illuminated his path, and it was as if it also illuminated his very soul, leading him through the mystery that enveloped the world. "Imagine," said the old monk, "that you are like that traveler, with the letter M engraved in the palm of your hand. It is like having a secret map of the universe, an inner guide that pushes you towards your destination. But this map won't just take you to physical locations. It will lead you towards your true essence, towards your spiritual mission, towards gestures and events that will change your life." The disciples listened with extreme attention, eager to discover more about the meaning of that mysterious letter that fascinated and disturbed all those who carried it in the palm of their hand. Those who carry the letter M on the palm of their hand can manifest incredible inner strength, continued Ninsi. These individuals are often natural leaders, capable of inspiring and influencing those around them. Their energy is magnetic, and they attract others to them like the stars are attracted to the moon. Sometimes they are political leaders or business captains. Other times, simply good people who know how to illuminate the path of those around them. For example, particularly charismatic parents, teachers, doctors. And in the spiritual world, he added, the bearers of the letter M are true custodians of ancient secrets. They are in tune with the higher energies of the universe, capable of discerning hidden truths and guiding others towards the light. The disciples listened with growing amazement, feeling part of something bigger than themselves. Those who had the letter M printed on their hand began to feel good. The others began to feel respect for their companions. However, Ninsi warned, with the power of the letter M also comes great responsibility. You must use your gift with wisdom and compassion, or risk being overwhelmed by the dark forces that lurk in the shadows. As the fireplace crackled gently, Ninsi urged his disciples to cultivate their connection with the letter M, to explore its mysteries with humility and gratitude, and to feel privileged. And remember, the monk said in a solemn tone, that your letter M is unique, as is your path. There is no one else like you, and no one can carry out your spiritual mission except yourself. The disciples nodded, feeling a new determination burning in their hearts. With the guidance of the wise monk, they were ready to explore the mysteries of the letter M and discover their true purpose in the universe. And so, in the tranquil Buddhist temple, the light of knowledge burned brightly as the disciples embraced their destiny with hope and confidence, ready to embark on a journey of discovery and transformation under Ninsi's loving guidance. Majestically, Ninsi slowly stood up, his figure bathed in a divine light that seemed to emanate from his very essence. "Now that you have understood the meaning of the letter M on the palm of your hand," he said in a grave but hopeful voice, "it's time to explore its power and wisdom more deeply." The disciples approached him, eager to learn more. "Look," Ninsi said, pointing to the twinkling stars in the night sky. "As the stars move harmoniously in the vast universe, so you too, with your letter M, are called to move harmoniously. Every decision you make is a universal dance between your free will and divine design. Every decision you make has to do not just with your reality, but with that of those you love and the universe itself." A disciple raised his hand, Master, how can we be sure that we are following the right path? How can we make sure that this privilege is not in vain? Ninsi smiled, the wisdom in her eyes shining like an eternal flame. Listen to your heart, she said. Your letter M is like an inner compass, always ready to show you the way. But remember, the Master continued, that your journey will not be without challenges and difficulties. Dark forces will try to divert you from your path, but with the light of your letter M as your guide, you will be able to overcome every obstacle and emerge stronger and wiser than before. Another disciple raised her hand. Master, what if we don't have the letter M in the palm of our hand? Ninsi paused for a moment, contemplating the question with deep thought. Even if you don't physically possess the letter M, you can still access its wisdom and power, he finally replied. True strength lies within you, regardless of external physical characteristics. Find your center, listen to your inner voice, and you will be guided towards your spiritual realization. The disciples looked at each other with a new sense of understanding and acceptance. The old monk's words were making them reflect, opening a world of emotions in their hearts and minds. Ninsi, looking at the starry sky and with a deep breath, added, Whether you bear the letter M or not, he said solemnly, always remember that you are an integral part of the great mosaic of the universe. Each individual, with their own uniqueness and beauty, contributes to the fabric of life. May your journey be illuminated by the light of wisdom and love, and may you find your true essence and inner growth. With these words, Ninsi closed his eyes and the disciples looked at him in silence, feeling the depth of his message vibrate in the surrounding air. Time seemed to slow down, as if the universe itself had stopped to listen to the words of the wise monk. When Ninsi reopened her eyes, her gaze was serene and radiant with hope. And now, he said in a clear voice, let us move forward, each of us, on our journey of spiritual discovery and realization. May the light of our letter M, whether visible or not, always guide us toward our true essence and our highest destiny. And so, in the quiet temple, the fire of knowledge continued to burn brightly as the disciples set out towards their destiny with renewed vigor and awareness. Do you often wake up between 3 and 5 in the morning? And have you ever felt a feeling of uneasiness or curiosity when this happens? In this video, thanks to a Zen story, we will see what it means to wake up recurrently at these times. Together, we will explore the mysteries behind these moments and discover how they can offer an opportunity for personal and spiritual growth. So stay until the end, because you will discover that these nocturnal awakenings can reveal much more than you think. In an ancient Buddhist monastery located among the mountains of Tibet lived the monk Kiro, famous for his vast wisdom. His lessons on awareness and compassion were renowned far and wide, and disciples came to him from afar to learn from his teachings. One evening, while twilight colored the sky with shades of red and gold, Kiro gathered his disciples in the main hall to answer a question they had asked him several times. Why do some people wake up most nights between 3 and 5 while others don't? Are these awakenings phenomena related to chance, or do they have a meaning? Dear disciples, Kiro began in a calm voice, today, we will explore nocturnal awakenings and their connection to Eastern medicine and Buddhist wisdom. In Eastern medicine, Kiro continued, night awakenings are believed to be linked to body's energy meridians and their influences on us. Kiro proceeded to explain how each night waking time was associated with a particular organ or system of the body, and how Eastern medicine viewed these awakenings as signs of energetic or emotional imbalance that required attention and care. For example, Kiro said, waking up between 3 and 5 in the morning is associated with the lungs and emotions of sadness. This could indicate a need to address and heal deep emotional wounds, thus allowing our energy vital to flow freely. The disciples nodded, reflecting on their master's words and trying to apply them to their own experience. Master, one of them asked, how can we interpret night awakenings in the light of Buddhist wisdom? Kiro smiled, recognizing his students' deep curiosity. In Buddhism, he replied, every moment of the day is an opportunity to practice mindfulness and compassion. Nighttime awakenings offer us a unique window to explore our mental and emotional states without the distractions we have during the day. Kiro shared stories of ancient Buddhist masters who, through meditation and contemplation, had transformed their nocturnal awakenings into opportunities to deepen their understanding of the human mind and soul. The Buddha taught that waking up at night can be seen as an invitation to develop awareness and kindness towards ourselves and others, Kiro said. It is a time to embrace our experiences without judgment, thus allowing inner wisdom to emerge and move us forward along our path of spiritual rebirth. The disciples, listening with gratitude, felt inspired by the profound union between Eastern medicine and Buddhist wisdom that their master had outlined. Remember, Kiro added, that every waking night is an opportunity to grow, learn, and connect with the deepest part of ourselves. Be grateful for these moments of awareness, for they are precious gifts on the path to spiritual fulfillment. But now let's see in more detail which areas of life are affected by nocturnal awakenings, so that you can better analyze yourself and others. Stress and anxiety accumulated during the day can manifest themselves in waking up at night between 3 and 5 in the morning. This is because during these hours, the human body is naturally predisposed to release peaks of cortisol, the stress hormone. If these levels are already high due to daily worries, you are likely to experience nocturnal awakenings, and in these cases, practices like meditation, deep breathing, and muscle relaxation can help reduce stress and promote deeper sleep. My suggestion, therefore, is to get used to meditating for at least 10 minutes before going to bed. This way you will prepare yourself to sleep more peacefully. Awakenings at these particular hours of the night are associated with the lungs in Chinese medicine and with sadness according to Eastern psychology. This may indicate the presence of repressed or unprocessed emotions, such as grief, loss, or loneliness. Facing and accepting these emotions is fundamental to inner healing. Practicing mindfulness and exploring emotions through writing or therapy can help you understand and integrate these emotional experiences. If you have suffered negative experiences of this type, I recommend you work on yourself in order to process them and find inner peace and emotional balance. Looking into the eyes of his disciples, Hiro continued his lesson. In the Eastern spiritual tradition, the early hours of the morning are considered a privileged time for connection with the divine and for spiritual practice. During this period of tranquility and silence, it is easier to get lost in meditation, prayer, or deep contemplation. Consider that many people wake up at these hours precisely because their deepest self needs to connect with the divine. And many practitioners, however, find that waking up specifically between 3 and 5 in the morning is an opportunity to experience greater spiritual presence and awareness, opening the door to new insights and spiritual realizations. These nocturnal awakenings, Hiro continued, can also be interpreted as signs of a process of inner transformation and personal growth. During these hours, the subconscious may be more active, bringing hidden emotions, thoughts, and desires to the surface. This can be a time to deeply explore your psyche and to identify what changes or transformations are necessary to live a more authentic and meaningful life. Some nocturnal awakenings, however, can be caused by physical disorders such as acid reflux, insomnia or sleep apnea, liver problems. These disorders can interrupt sleep and cause frequent awakenings during these hours. Eastern medicine suggests various remedies for these conditions. However, if you think you may have such problems, consult a doctor to identify and treat the underlying cause of these physical ailments. Eradicating these problems at the root allows you to improve the quality of sleep and promote emotional and general well-being. As the disciples continued to listen to the monk's words with great attention, Hiro introduced another important aspect. The period from 3 to 5 in the morning, he said, is considered a time when the unconscious can communicate important messages through dreams and awakenings. This theory is suggested by both the ancient Zen wisdom and the analytical psychology of Carl Gustav Jung. These messages can be symbolic or intuitive and can provide valuable insights into our inner lives, relationships, or challenges we are facing. Keeping a dream diary or practicing meditation before sleep can help capture and interpret these unconscious messages. If you write them down immediately, the next day you will have the opportunity to remember them and be able to use them in your growth process. Another reason why some of us wake up at those times, according to Eastern tradition, is linked to the natural rhythms of the universe. The early hours of the morning, in fact, are considered a time when vital energy is concentrated and flows more freely. Waking during this time may indicate an alignment with these natural cycles or a need to adapt to them to promote health and well-being. Practices such as yoga, Tai Chi, or meditation can help harmonize the body, mind, and spirit with the rhythms of nature. So, my dears, consider practicing them. A disciple asked Master Hiro, should we ultimately be worried if we often wake up at these times? My dears, said the monk, I would look at these awakenings as a precious opportunity to explore the depths of our mind, our spirit, and even our body. If an awakening suggests a physical problem to us, we will know we need to take care of it. If it suggests a spiritual meaning to us, we will know we have to work on it. Remember, through Eastern wisdom and heartfelt compassion, to learn to welcome these moments as precious gifts along the journey of life. Every nocturnal awakening is an invitation to greater awareness and understanding of ourselves and the world around us. So, instead of resisting or ignoring these awakenings, we can welcome them with kindness and openness, allowing them to illuminate our path to spiritual fulfillment. The best thing you can do is create a space of quiet and reflection before going to bed, allowing your mind and body to completely relax. Practices like meditation, deep breathing, or reading inspirational texts can prepare you for a more restful, deep sleep. And when you wake up between 3 and 5 in the morning, take this phenomenon as an opportunity to explore your inner self and connect with your deepest essence. Have you ever wanted to help someone even though they didn't explicitly ask you to? And how did it go? And have you ever wondered if your good intentions could, in fact, have caused a negative ripple effect that you weren't aware of? In the Zen story you are about to hear, we will see that not helping others, unless they ask you, is best for them and for yourself. So stay until the end, because what you discover thanks to Buddhist wisdom could change the way you see the world of human relationships. In essence, you will see how helping those who do not want to be helped can have negative repercussions on your life and theirs, and you will discover how your karma will be affected. But before continuing, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share the video. These small gestures will help us produce new content every day for your spiritual growth. In a quiet Buddhist monastery, surrounded by lush gardens and ancient trees, the old and sagacious monk Norio gathered his disciples to talk about a topic very close to everyone's hearts. His curiosity was palpable and his eyes were fixed on Norio. They all wanted to understand more about the reasons why, when they had helped someone, things had not gone as they would have liked. Life is like a great river, and each of us is a small boat navigating this tumultuous course. Norio began in a calm voice. Often we tend to jump into that current, trying to steer other people's boats without waiting to be asked. To make the metaphor he had just used understand, Norio shared a story passed down through the centuries. He spoke of a young monk eager to help a companion in difficulty without being asked. The monk's intervention, although well-intentioned, caused a succession of unexpected events, creating an intricate labyrinth of challenges, even dramatic, for both. You should know, Norio continued, that suffering is a necessary lesson in our spiritual growth. Each individual, like a jewel, is shaped by the pressures of life and the challenges they face. But when we intervene without being called, we rob them of the opportunity to learn, grow, and train. To further clarify his lesson, Norio spoke of two friends, Shoin and Masu, who had shared joys and sorrows since their school days. One day, Shoin heard about the financial problems Masu had found himself in and decided to secretly help him by paying off some debts that his friend couldn't pay. His intentions, said the master, were naturally good. However, Shoin's gesture had unexpected and disastrous consequences. Masu, although grateful to his friend for the unsolicited help, was deprived of the opportunity to resolve the situation in his own way. Additionally, he noted that Shoin had discovered some details about his personal life that he would have preferred to keep confidential. On the one hand, this led Masu to feel an emotional detachment from his friend. On the other hand, Shoin began to feel a growing strain on the friendship. He felt that his act of kindness had not produced the relief he had hoped for, but had instead generated a sense of shame and a change in the dynamic of the friendship itself. In short, unsolicited help had created discord and confusion, demonstrating how, in life, even good deeds can have unexpected consequences. What we often don't understand is that each individual is at the mercy of their own karma, Norio explained, and every action we take, good or bad, comes back to us like an echo. When we help without being asked to do so, we upset the delicate balance of another person's karma and paradoxically harm our own as well. The old monk told other stories, such as that of a young man who, eager to solve the problems of a dear friend without her having asked him, found himself involved in a series of endless difficulties and misadventures. If you enter a labyrinth that is not yours but someone else's without being asked, Norio continued, you could set off a chain reaction of events, creating an intricate web of karmic connections. And your gesture of friendship, no matter how absurd it may seem, could end up doing more harm to the friend in question and to yourself. Imagine wanting to cure someone without asking them if they are willing to give up the things that made them sick. Norio said, suffering is often caused by past actions, and our intervention could alter the natural course of learning that the individual should ultimately experience. Norio then went on to talk about Buddhist teachings, highlighting how even he himself had resisted the temptation to intervene without request. Buddha, the monk explained, had understood the sacredness of the individual learning process and how the karma of each being must be respected. Suffering is a very severe but precious teacher, Norio continued, using other everyday examples to better illustrate the concept. He spoke of the many moments when, seeing a friend or family member in difficulty, empathy pushed him to offer help, and how instead, Buddha taught the wisdom of waiting for the person themselves to ask for help. Suffering is almost always the result of past actions, and karma is the supreme law that governs the universe, Norio said. When we intervene unsolicited, we enter a karmic vortex that can drag us into other people's problems, with unpredictable consequences for both of us. Remember, suffering is like a teacher who guides us along the path of spiritual growth, said Norio. To interfere with this process is to deprive others of the wisdom that only suffering itself can teach. Norio told other stories about daily life at the monastery, showing how the monks applied these teachings in daily practice. Dozens of monks I have trained, he added, became wiser and more self-confident men precisely because I avoided intervening directly in their problems. By resisting the temptation to intervene to solve certain problems, I allowed them to face their own challenges and learn the lessons that karma had in store for them. Every action we take is like throwing a stone into a pond, Norio said, using a metaphor to clarify the concept. The ripples spread and return to us. When we help without asking, we not only influence the karma of others, but we create ripples that can impact our own lives. In conclusion, what do we understand from this story, and how can you help us? The moral we can draw from this story is a reminder of the wisdom of discerning when to reach out and when to wait. Karma, like an unbroken river, carries our actions with it, and the way we offer our help can alter the very structure of destiny. Before reaching out to help someone, we must reflect on what they really need. Norio admonished, not everyone seeks advice. Sometimes they just need a listening ear and an understanding heart. Therefore, let us always remember to respect the sacredness of the individual path of each human being. Help should never be an impulsive act, but rather a conscious gesture, respectful of free will, and the path of personal and spiritual growth of others and ourselves. Life is an intricate web of lessons and opportunities for growth. When we offer our help without being called, we can deprive others of the precious opportunity to learn about themselves. Wisdom lies in recognizing that sometimes the best lesson is the one learned through one's own effort and experience. Therefore, let our help be a beacon of light, offered when requested with awareness and respect, rather than a chain of unexpected events. How many times have you heard that in life we must learn to forgive? And how many times have you tried to do it without success? And again, have you ever heard of why you should not forgive according to Buddha? We often hear that the practice of forgiveness serves to purify us, to live at peace with ourselves, and to embark on a true spiritual path. Thanks to the Zen story that you will hear shortly, you will learn the true vision of forgiveness in Buddhist culture. So stay until the end, because what you will hear will disrupt the idea of forgiveness that you have always had, and this will help you a lot in human relationships and in your personal growth. But before continuing, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and share the video. These small gestures cost you nothing, but they will help us produce new content every day for your spiritual growth. In an ancient monastery located among the mountains of India lived an old and wise monk named Kumen, known for his deep knowledge of the Buddhist path. His clothes were sober, but his eyes reflected the clarity of someone who had traveled a long spiritual journey. One day, a man approached the monk with an invisible burden in his heart. "Master Kumen," he said with a trembling voice, "how can I learn to truly forgive according to the Buddhist path?" Kumen, with his usual kindness, invited the man to sit down and began to tell him a story that would illuminate the path to understanding forgiveness. Once upon a time, Kumen began, there were two disciples of Buddha. They were the sons of a respectable East Indian merchant, a man dedicated to his work and determined to ensure the prosperity of his family. This merchant, one day, noticed that his children spent more hours a day at the feet of Buddha, instead of dedicating themselves to the family business. His concern grew like a shadow on his face as he saw his heirs abandon the path of commerce to follow in the footsteps of a man who spent his time sitting with his eyes closed. This father, Kumen continued, thought that his sons were neglecting the work and prosperity of their family, and his concern turned to anger as he contemplated the way the Buddha affected the lives of his descendants. One day, determined to put an end to this situation, the merchant decided to confront the Buddha directly. He went to the place where the Buddha was teaching, and when he saw him sitting with his eyes half closed and a serene smile, his anger broke out. This man, Cumin said, felt betrayed. He felt that Buddha was stealing his children's future. The merchant, full of anger and despair, had planned how he would humiliate the Buddha in front of all his disciples. He wanted to spit on him and hold him down for the damage he was doing to his family. But when he came in front of the Buddha and saw his peaceful face, something changed within him. The atmosphere around the Buddha was so permeated with calm and serenity that the man momentarily forgot his vengeful intentions. However, his pride could not accept this climate of extreme peace. Then, strengthened by his determination, he spat in the Buddha's face. The Buddha's disciples rose to defend him, but the Buddha remained unperturbed, with a calm gaze and a persistent smile. Cumin described the atmosphere that followed as if a wave of calm had enveloped the place. The Buddha, he said, did not react with anger. He sat with his eyes half closed, accepting the apparently offensive act with his heart open. The merchant, seeing the Buddha's reaction, realized the helplessness of his actions, and the anger he had harbored turned into remorse. All the accusations and insults he had prepared came to mind, but in front of that peaceful presence, everything seemed insignificant. The Buddha did not condemn the man. He did not humiliate him. Instead, he offered him compassion and peace. Cumin continued. At this point, the monk interrupted the narration to highlight a crucial lesson. Dear friend, forgiveness is like that peace of the Buddha. It is not something we do concretely. It is not simply saying, I forgive you. It is something that happens when we are willing to let go of the past and see the being before us in a new light. The monk resumed the story and described how the man, touched by the Buddha's compassion, returned home. The images of the peaceful Buddha and his act of spitting in his face collided in his mind, he continued. That night, the man couldn't sleep. His mind was dominated by the image of the smiling Buddha and at the same time by the act of spitting that he had committed against her. The man, Cumin said, was at a crossroads between remorse for his past and the possibility of a different future. Cumin emphasized the importance of this pivotal moment in the story he was telling. That man, he said, was going through a process of deep introspection. He was trying to forgive himself, feeling guilty and ashamed for how he had behaved. The man, after days of internal torment, realized that his imagination was constantly constructing painful scenarios based on that past. Imagination, Cumin said, can be a powerful ally or a fierce enemy. In the wrong hands, it can create an endless cycle of anger and resentment. The man, over time, began to understand that the Buddha had not reacted to his actions with judgment, but with a very clear objective. So little by little he abandoned thoughts of revenge and began to sincerely ask for forgiveness. One day he returned to the feet of the Buddha. Cumin said, no longer in anger, but with genuine repentance. Forgive me, O great master, he pleaded. My ignorance has left me blind. I was just focused on my life and the prosperity of my family. The Buddha, with his eyes half opened and a smile of peace, listened to the man's words, but when he asked for forgiveness, he shook his head. I can't forgive you, he said kindly, because there is nothing to forgive. You have done nothing wrong to me. The man, surprised, asked the Buddha why he did not want to forgive him. Cumin explained that the Buddha had nothing to forgive, as he had accepted the man's act without judging him. It was as if the Buddha saw beyond the past and present, feeling the pure essence of that individual. This refusal to forgive, according to Kuman, taught man a valuable lesson. Forgiveness is not only an act of mercy towards others, but also an internal process of liberation. The Buddha taught, Kuman continued, that to forgive is to perform an act of compassion, both toward others and toward ourselves. The man, impressed by the Buddha's wisdom, began to reflect deeply on the meaning of forgiveness, and the idea that forgiveness was not something that could be given or received, but rather an internal experience of liberation, impacted him. The story continued with the merchant who, inspired by Buddha, decided to embark on a path of self-forgiveness. As time went by, he learned to let go of the guilt and shame that had tormented him. The practice of meditation became his refuge, where he learned to observe each moment without letting himself be dominated by the memory of the past or by worries about the future. "Dear friend," Kuman said, turning to the man who was listening intently, "forgiveness is not just a gesture we make toward others, but an act of kindness that extends toward ourselves as well. When we learn to see each moment with new eyes, overcoming painful memories and letting go of our destructive imagination, we can find inner peace." The story continued with the merchant who, inspired by spiritual practice, eventually healed the wounds of the past and approached the Buddha to thank him. And the Buddha, with his compassionate smile, received him with joy. Kuman concluded the story by emphasizing that forgiveness, both toward others and toward oneself, is a complex and profound process. On our spiritual journey, he said, forgiveness guides us to a higher level of consciousness and compassion. It is a gift we can offer ourselves and others, freeing ourselves from the chains of the past and opening the doors to a bright future. But what is the moral of this story? And what does it teach us? The moral that emerges is clear. Forgiveness, in the Buddhist view, is not an act as an end in itself. It is not something we can give or receive, but is a gift of compassion that can be extended to oneself and others. In this approach, forgiveness becomes a means of making those who have made a mistake understand the extent of their actions. The compassion and kindness with which we offer forgiveness practically and indirectly become tools to open the eyes of those who have made the mistake, leading them to a deeper awareness. Because whoever commits an evil act towards someone actually commits it against himself, since karma will cause the effects to fall on him like a boomerang. So, in the end, he will have to forgive himself. Remember, forgiveness is not just a personal liberation, but a process that can lead to the transformation of others. Opening yourself to the kind of forgiveness we talk about is a way to promote awareness and growth, creating a bridge to a future of understanding and serenity.